Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today I have two special guests about an up-and-coming NFT platform that I'm very excited about. Now, this is a space I know very well, and I cover a lot. I've been a collector myself for years. I tend to love things that appreciate in value. I don't know why, but that's real estate, that's crypto, that's actually basketball cards and baseball cards and other collectibles that are, I guess, attractive, desirable, and over time you have more people that want them than are there, and so scarcity is a huge part of that. And I have one of the best up-and-coming projects. Now, I've looked at a lot of up-and-coming NFT projects, and most I did not want to talk to. This one I definitely wanted to talk to because what they're doing is good. They have the right background for it. So I, have high expectations that this could be one of the biggest NFT plays in this coming year and in the future in general. I feel like there's still so much room for this to do very well. So I want to welcome in our guests, Tim Glover and Jin, both co-founders of Chronicle. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jim, for having us.
Well, fantastic. Now, you're both in separate locations. I think there's a tiny bit of lag between us, but I think it'll go smooth. I do thank you for joining me to talk about Chronicle in general. Now, could you give the viewers, because you haven't even launched yet, this may be the first time they're hearing about Chronicle, could you tell them about it in general?
Yeah, so what we are looking to do is basically create a NFT or a digital collectibles platform, which is entirely fan focused for the fans, and basically allow them to collect digital collectibles or trading cards through kind of what we would call, non-technical, non-crypto means. So we're trying to make the access point for those collectibles as easy as possible through the Chronicle platform. That means smartphone friendly, email address onboarding, USD fiat on-ramp, access to officially licensed digital collectibles from beloved brands that we're all aware of with large fan bases, and all of the complexity of blockchain, crypto, all of those kind of entry barriers that make it difficult for like kids or moms and dads to get involved in this space. We handle that complexity on our side.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there are two primary focus with Chronicle. One is that we firstly want to focus on premium brands and bring them into the NFT space. And second is we're very fan focused, and we want to create a immersive digital experience for the fans, not just like a simple collection, but through a variation, a different presentation, different types of NFT and gamification that we can really engage with the fan constantly instead of just doing a simple sale of collectibles.
Good. That brings just a thought through my mind. By different things, different people, we understand different things with immersive. Can you share with me what your thought is on an immersive experience?
Tim?
I can probably answer that from my perspective. So a little bit about my background, perhaps, which is relevant for this question. So I was involved in kind of some of the digital online experiences, fan-focused experiences with the Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom movies that came out between 2015 and 2018. And so what we kind of did then for the fans, working with Universal Pictures and director Colin Trevorrow, was basically taking the story that they had written and doing some research on the characters and basically creating I guess background stories to these characters and building out the world and the canon and the lore of these characters and the world of Jurassic Park, and putting it in a digital campaign. So immersive in the sense of this context was that, hey, if I'm a fan of Jurassic Park, a super fan, and I'm excited for this movie, I have a website where I can go to it, and that website sits in the world of Jurassic. And when I'm reading about these characters, it's like I'm reading about to use an analogy, it's like, imagine having a website that's WayneEnterprises.com, and you're reading all about Bruce Wayne and like the stock portfolio and that kind of a thing. That's what we were doing for Jurassic Park and or Jurassic World rather, and we did it twice. We had a really fun campaign in the second movie when we were doing Claire Deering's Dinosaur Protection Group, and we did something. I mean, the premise in the movie Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom was that there's a volcano on the island, and it's threatening re-extinction of the dinosaurs. And so we did something called Adopt a Dino, right? Where fans could sort of go in, choose their favorite dinosaur, print an adoption certificate and share that to social media. And I think it's like these kind of fun things where, you're not just looking at something like a collectible, but you're actually able to go one step further and feel like you're in the world of that canon and that universe. That for me is immersive. And I think we have, certainly do have the background to being able to pull this off with Chronicle. The other thing, I guess, that we've discussed, Jim, just thinking outside of the film universe, is the game universe, right? So things like being able to enter the metaverse. Jim's got some pretty cool stuff that we've been doing with VR and AR and that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that a little bit. So I think a lot of especially the top NFT companies, they have been watching closely the metaverse and the gaming sector, and I think that will eventually will be where NFT is heading as well. So by starting with NFT, the premium brands and the assets of the premium brands, we want to create together with different protocols that allow NFT assets to transfer from one metaverse to one universe to another. Then we'll be able to transfer, for example, different dinosaurs. We can transfer them into different gaming settings. For example, I'm talking to a big VR provider in China, and once we have the dinosaur ready to go, and we can plug them directly into all the VR settings that they have, and it can interact with other digital assets, and you have this real near, I would say really close to reality experience interaction with different dinosaurs, and you can even adopt your dinosaur in the virtual reality world. You can ride on it. You can fly on it because they have all the actual device that you can ride on it. It can be mapped in dinosaur coating in the virtual reality world, and also it can be plugged into different I would say AR, augmented reality settings as well. We're talking to a project they're doing some AR for in China, Forbidden City. Mm-hmm. Imagine that you can bring dinosaur into Forbidden City, and as you go around the Forbidden City, you take out your phone, you'll be able to find a small dinosaur, a dinosaur egg at the corner. How cool would that be?
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would really engage fans. Being a collector myself, I don't know why that stuff works so well, especially with the augmented reality. I mean, the first company to kind of hit that was Pokemon Go, right? But they didn't really dive into the blockchain. But man, it was amazing that for years I would be driving around in all the parks. I would see all these people walking around looking at their phone all the time. I was like, there must be some hot spots here for years.
On that point, it's really funny what we as humans tend to value, right? So I remember when that was happening, you had people selling phones on eBay, with all of these different Pokemons that they've been collecting, and just people buying them for thousands of dollars, just these entire Pokemon collections. It was quite amazing, seeing what we humans we find valuable in these collections.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the tie-ins that you did on Jurassic World, and I would love to see a lot of that in this space because, adopt a pet, right? The personalization and the customization, feeling like, it's yours. That's brilliant. I'd love to see that come together. Now, So that gives us a good overview on the Chronicle platform. Now, it's still very much the early days of digital collectibles in general. Who would you say your biggest competitors are in this space?
I mean, again, the space is relatively new, so we're aware of the leaders in the space at the moment. Obviously, Dapper being the number one. What we absolutely love what they've done with NBA Hot Shots, and we can talk about that. So what they've been able to achieve is that they've teamed up with a much loved brand. And they focused on the fans, which is exactly the play that we want to do. So they didn't push out like, oh, you need to have Ethereum to get in these NBA collectible cards. You don't, again, email address registration and that kind of a thing. So that's been a very good model for us to appreciate and work towards. Again, there's Vivi as well, Akomi. I think we were discussing that prior to the call. Love what they've done. Again, simple, easy to use mobile app, a bit more different than what we're trying to do. I think what they've been focused on is, kind of like your figurine models that you used to collect in as a kid. They've turned those into kind of augmented reality and collectibles, and that's their focus. We're trying to come into it from a digital trading card perspective. That's what we're looking to do. And obviously, the space is blowing up at the moment. So we know about Recur, we know about some of the other players that are up and coming, and like for us, we think it's great. Like collecting NBA basketball cards in the 90s, you didn't just have one player. There was not Upper Deck, Tops, Flair, etc. Multiple players, and I think that's how the space is going to evolve. You're going to have multiple platforms doing these digital collectible cards, and I think you may even see multiple brands even across same brand across multiple platforms. So I don't see why not. You can't have, let's say, just for example, like a Star Wars being done across multiple platforms. And at the end of the day, it's going to be about who's got the coolest collectibles.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I've read a lot of white papers related to NFTs lately. Yours stood out, and yours was one of the ones I wanted to talk to you guys the most, because it was one of the ones I liked the most, and there were a number of reasons why I liked it. Number one, I always ask myself, do these people have the background that they can probably pull off their vision? What I saw from it, and us talking some more, got a feel for your backgrounds in general, and maybe we can share that with the viewers. But my answer before I'd even spoken to you was yes, they are positioned well in an area that they know very well, and likely have the connections to pull off their bigger vision. Because at the end of the day, I'm a collector, but I'm an investor myself, and I'm looking at which projects am I interested in investing in. And I saw yours, and I said, this is probably a home run. I don't always know, but I was like, okay, I love this. I want to talk to them. So I appreciate you for joining me here to share with everyone. Could you share it now more with the viewers, your backgrounds prior to coming together for Chronicle?
Jim, do you want to start?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me start. So my background was in software engineering, both my bachelor and master, and I was very interested in kind of human and machine interaction. So I had an internship out in a brain machine interface company out in Boston called Brinkle. And shortly after that, I got back to Melbourne. I saw the rise of blockchain industry. So I actually learned the smart contract development, etc. And I joined a blockchain company called Kenya. That company used to be, I think they were the second largest ICO'd project out in 2017. And they were doing a decentralized freelancer platforms, just like Upwork. But I think probably that project is a bit ahead of its time, because the whole blockchain industry hasn't really got mature. And it was hit by 2018, the bear market. So that project didn't go very well. I left that. I started to do more of my own advisory and blockchain investment. I joined JR Crypto as an advisor. JRR Crypto is the second largest shareholder of Binance. I was their Australian advisor, helped them sourcing like quality projects, and also I set up my own VC in Singapore called Orumzi VC, and started to invest in early stage project, not only tech projects, but also some really fun projects. For example, I invested in a company called Bounsters, where they made hot chili sauce. I'm a big fan of hot chili. Yeah. yeah, which is pretty fun. And also I was among the seed investors of Thorchain, which is, I think so far the biggest project coming from Australia. And we got bought out by Multicoin Capital last year. And also I was helping a project. That's where I met Tim, a company called Soar, a company based in Perth, Australia. It's a geospatial technology company, building the maps for building the platform for all maps and imagery. I was helping that project and help them hooked up with China Space Agency and help them manage the partnership with the largest satellite provider in China. And also in 2019, I liquidated some of my crypto and invested in that company. I became a shareholder. And later, pandemic gets hit, and then kind of stayed home for a while and invest in different crypto projects because the market's getting back. And then in February, I actually, as I dig more into NBA Top Shot and the NFT space, I thought it could be it is a blue ocean opportunity, and it's very exciting because you get a chance to work with actual brands and fans. So initially, I really want to do kind of like a tennis version of the NBA Top Shot because I myself have been playing tennis for over 10 years. And I'm trying to have some ideas around that. And later we kind of had a discussion with Tim and also the other co-founder of ours, Amir. And then we thought we can actually do something bigger. So that's how Chronicle came to birth. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Over to you, Tim.
And yeah, I guess from my perspective, as kind of I was mentioning earlier on, but happy to go into the story now. So the year is 2014, and Universal Pictures have just announced after 13 years that there's going to be a fourth Jurassic Park film. And I was kind of, an open Jurassic Park fan, science fiction movie buff. And, you kind of had a community online. We call ourselves Jurassic Twitter, kind of like crypto Twitter. And we basically had an online community there. And I'd made friends with another Jurassic Park fan over in the United Kingdom, Jack. And we kind of sort of heard some rumors about what this new fourth movie might be about. It was being directed by an indie film director called Colin Trevorrow. Steven Spielberg had basically handed over the franchise to this young and upcoming director. And the idea was that the premise of the film was going to be centered around a new and operational theme park. So Jurassic Park was open again. And so we kind of thought that, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we put out this website where we basically connect all of the timeline of the previous films and kind of put in our own content as well that would lead up to this movie. And we just drop it and just kind of, seed it out there and see what happens. So we did that in about a day and a half. And sure enough, the site got picked up amongst fans and very quickly went viral to the extent that the site crashed, which was crazy at the time. Now, the reason why the site crashed, we didn't know it at the time, but we found out a few hours later, was because IGN had picked up on the site thinking that Universal Pictures had actually dropped a viral marketing website for the up-and-coming movie. So they actually thought that Universal Pictures had dropped this website. And sure enough, what ended up happening from there, Colin Trevorrow, the director, found out about the site, absolutely loved it. And Universal Pictures reached out to us and said, hey, do you guys want to hop on the call? And so we did. And they're like, really like what you guys did. Would you like to do something in an official capacity? And we're like, dream come true scenario. So they flew us over to Los Angeles. got to meet Colin in person and Frank Marshall, who'd done all of the, the Indiana Jones movies and E.T. and stuff with Stephen. And basically we all sat down and ironed out how we were going to basically do this officially. And, they gave us access to all of the film's assets, the story, the characters, and we created this online website called Masrani Global, where you could go in there, learn about, basically what had transpired in those 13 years to lead up to an operational, fully functioning theme park called Jurassic World. Very well received. I think we had probably about 3 million unique visitors across the campaign from all across the world. The film did very well, obviously, made $1.67 billion at the box office. And from there, Jack and I are doing consulting for the next 2 years with Universal Pictures, where we're consulting with brand and licensing. We're doing stuff on the Lego series. We're doing stuff with AR, VR, storytelling, etc. And then Universal Pictures reaches out again and invites us on the next movie, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And that's where we were doing the Dinosaur Protection Group, which is Claire Deering's group, Save the Dinos, etc. And this is a much larger campaign than what we did for the first movie. So I mentioned earlier things like Adopt a Dino. We're doing social media. We're doing like found footage videos and actually working with the dinosaurs this time. It was a much larger experience. And obviously, again, that film did incredibly well. And having kind of worked with the major studio on two very well-known movies and executed them quite well with the fan bases. We've kind of seen the opportunity with being able to replicate that model and applying it to digital collectibles and NFTs.
That's exciting. What I've liked about as we've been discussing and when I was reading things is your background in fan focus, because at the end of the day, if you give fans what they want, I mean, that's what they're going to collect, right? And I love that your approach with Jurassic Park is what do the fans really want to know? What do they want to see? And giving it to them. And I guess just your closeness to how fans think and feel is exciting to me because, I've been a collector general, and sometimes I don't even know why I collect things. Like, it just it hit certain things. Like I was a big fan of G.I. Joe, Transformers. I love that stuff. And here I was, 35 years old. I'm walking through a store and I see a really big Transformer. I don't remember if it was Optimus Prime or whatever. Literally $100, and if the timing would have been a little bit different, I totally would have just bought it, I don't know where I would have put it, but it just hit that nostalgia, right? And because I've always been a big fan of that franchise since I was a kid. And so looking forward to a lot of the stuff that you're going to produce. Now, one of the things that also caught my attention is that you're going to be releasing packs. And having been a kid that collected baseball cards and just other things that come in packs, and NBA Top Shots really hit on this too, is packs. And just there's something with opening up packs and not quite knowing exactly what you're going to get that goes really well. Can you tell us more about the idea of packs in general and what your thoughts were on those?
I agree completely. So growing up in the 90s, I used to collect, basketball cards and movie cards. I actually still have them with me here. And that was part of the nostalgia, wasn't it? You go in, you hear about this, exciting, I don't know, like the 94, 95 series of Upper Deck. And you're like, wow, you kind of there's always like a preview of some of the cards on the box, and you're like, oh, and you get the Beckett magazine and you're like, oh well, these if there's like a 1 in 500 chance I might get that card, and it's almost like a lottery system. But you kind of I think like we were discussing, the anticipation of not knowing what you're going to get, or even hey, I've got a really favorite basketball player, that's my guy, I want to get his card. You got that as well happening, and I think that's really exciting. So obviously, we're trying to replicate that anticipation, that experience, and again, seeing how NBA Top Shots has done that very successfully, we think that's an exciting model. And so what we are looking to do with Chronicle is where the opportunity is there. So for a large enough brand that has the ability for us to do, many different collectible cards, we would be looking at issuing packs. And so, for example, we might say that, okay, in this collectible series, there's 100 cards, and each card's going to be minted, let's say, 3,000 times, 5,000 times, whatever, depending on how large we can scale it. We may open up the opportunity for there to be, packs of collector cards where everything's kind of randomly assigned, but you still have the opportunity in that collection pack to unearth something that's rare and high value. So all of the same principles behind a physical card pack put into the digital world.
Love it. As the collector in me is really looking forward to this. Now, so there's two ways that people can participate as you're ready, and one is tokens that at some point you'll probably have an initial DEX offering, or maybe through a launch pad or something, and they can buy your tokens, which it's the XNL token.
That's
and
correct.
Then obviously collectibles in the future as well, right? So do you have any idea on the timelines for either of those?
Yeah, I think with regard to we definitely want to do an ideal, and we're talking with a few top launch pads at the moment, and we're looking at a June launch of our token.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's kind of in terms of timeline as well. Obviously, the platform release, is kind of a end of July target. So we kind of think that the June timeframe, helps to support that, because you kind of have this build up period for a month in anticipation of the platform launch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so platform launch will be. Are you saying the token will be in June and then the platform in July, or the other way around? Okay.
That's right.
That's pretty soon. I know I saw some screenshots, and I have it of like the app for the phone, and so that'll be coming to us pretty soon. That's exciting. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. And that's also just so we can highlight, that's a web-based place. So Chronicle users would be able to access the platform from the web desktop, as well as a wrapped smartphone application, iOS and Android.
Nice. Good. Yeah, I like that I can access on. I'm still one that uses my computer all the time. I do have some friends that use nothing but their phone. Not me. I like my phone. I love my computers.
Yeah, right. I mean, like you can use Trust Wallet or SafePal to access decentralized apps, but still the experience is different if you have a native application on your phone. It's very different.
Okay.
So yeah.
Actually, just
direction I'm going.
I mean, just on the concept of digital collectibles within an app, I was talking to a close friend, and she's a mom, has like I think a 13-year-old boy, and his room, he's got like a whole shelf of collectible trading cards, and she's like, they get everywhere. I've got to look after them, take up a lot of room. If I can have all of that in a smartphone, like. Yeah, it's great for parents. Yeah, so I kind of, it's a good selling point.
That's a great point. I remember I used to have, so my friend got me into collecting toys again. I had, not thought about it, and he told me that Star Wars Legos are the best appreciating toy out there. Darn him for turning me on to that, because within about 3 years, I had a whole, basically wall with all these different Star Wars Legos collectibles. And he was right. They appreciate amazing. I bought one thing for $30. I bought 4 of them, and I sold it 4 years later for $350 a piece. I mean, okay, you don't get rich on $350 a piece, but come on, that kind of appreciation is pretty crazy.
And it's Lego, so I'm not gonna knock that. Lego's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this comes back to what you mentioned, Jane, that why people want to collect. I really think that collecting is like defines part of what we are. And I mean, like even from the ancient times till now, I mean, like people have been like, we are a collection of flesh, and like our soul, you can say, it's a collection of memories. And part of what we like and what we want to collect reflects on the element that we want to kind of solidify ourselves, but we can't really find it. Like it's not really tangible. So we kind of need to outsource it to a actual thing and that becomes part of you. So really, as we go into this digital age, we are defining ourselves a lot of times from a digital perspective as well. And I think that's why that people tend to collect digital assets as well.
Yeah, I'd never thought of it that way. That's brilliant.
And I've got just on that as well. I've got a 7-year-old daughter that uses. Oh, I mean, Minecraft is one, but Roblox is another. And if she could live in that virtual world, she probably would. So it's really interesting because it's becoming a generational thing. I actually think that the next generation, they're going to be so familiar with the concept of virtual worlds and digital worlds. This is only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
So yes, it's very much a watch this space.
Fully agree, and I love your concept of going to the different, because there's going to be a lot of different games and other things. If you can find integrations for those with your collectibles and bring those into that world, how amazing is that? Like, we all saw the movie Ready Player One, and we thought, yes. Now, what I don't agree with that is one game has kind of taken over everything, right? And so, I think there's going to be lots of different multiverses, and so things that interact with different ones are the smart plays, because you don't have to know which one's going to win, because many of them will be winners. So it was a fun movie to watch, and I always think about that, like, what's going to be the things that tie into making that a reality, right?
Exactly. And it's a great inspiration for the entire space, for anyone that's getting into digital collectibles or Decentraland and that kind of a thing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it helps you visualize what it can look like down the road. And you look at Star Trek, in the 50s and 60s, they created this show, and then, their cell phones, not the first generation cell phones, but like the second ones, looked just like the little things that they were using. And they would pull people up on big screens, right, to talk with ships. And I mean, that's essentially what we're doing now. So it's amazing how it comes to fruition. Now, you guys are creating collectibles in several different categories that I was reading in the white paper: film and television, animation, sports, arts and culture, music, games, celebrities too, fashion, and then other officially licensed memorabilia. Can you talk about those? I know I just listed off a whole bunch of categories, but that's pretty broad. What was your thought about bringing those together?
Yeah, so I think the thing that we're trying to emphasize is that we obviously want to work with officially licensed collectibles that have large fan followings. So that's how I would put it to you. So anything, like it could be an individual athlete, it could be their club, or it could be a league, right? You can go from sort of the micro, medium to macro level. Films, television shows, animated series. I was going to bring this up earlier, and actually, when you were talking about the Transformers thing that you walked in on and almost went to purchase, how we really want to work with brands that have existed for a few generations, because what you've got is you had kind of us or even our parents who were kind of the first ones to get exposed to that franchise, and then us, and then our kids. Exactly. You kind of have like multi-generations who are fans, and obviously we can think of things like Star Trek, Star Wars, kind of Jurassic now, that's getting into that space. That is very exciting for us, to try and tap into that. So basically, when we say multi-categories, we do kind of see Chronicle as a bit of a media play. So you go into the app and it's almost like, okay, what channel do I want to look at today? Is it sports? Is it movies? Is it animated series? And then you go in there and it's your entire, collectible series from the brands that you love. And again, very focused on kind of generational fan followings, and large fan followings, and not just in North America as well. So, again, we've been talking about the idea of how, why can't we do a Bollywood movie? Why can't we do something from the Middle East or South America or China or Japan?
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you have based on both of your experiences coming together. And you mentioned your other co-founder as well. put your foot in different spaces so that you understand all the different cultures, right? Because there's so many, and Asia has a whole huge market, not just China, but all of Asia, and they have their cultural things. And so it gives you the ability to reach into those different cultures and deliver value to them, right? Because every culture grew up with something that they were a fan of, and dialing into that, it benefits their life. I think your explanation is actually, Jin has given me a better understanding of why I like collectibles so much, because it is kind of a way to make a statement about ourselves without having to actually say anything, right? I'll have to think on that some more. I like that a lot. I'm like, yes, that is exactly
we talk
right.
About, we
and
talk
I'd
about
never
the
put that
philosophy
together.
Yeah, we talk about the philosophy of what we're doing and why we're doing it quite a lot.
Yeah, I always ask myself those questions. There's two things I'm really good at. One is economics, and then I don't know that I was naturally good at the psychology of why we do the things we do, but I always ask myself that question, and it's made me really good. I was real estate and real estate investing for a number of years, and even selling real estate, and that helped me be exceptionally good. Because I always ask, why we as human beings, we like to think that we're logical. We are far from logical. A lot of our decisions are very emotionally based. And so the better we understand why we do the emotional things we do, we can laugh at it and enjoy it, right? Because it's funny. Yeah. We often don't make the rational decision, we make the irrational one. And there's emotional reasons as to why we do. We then justify whatever decision we made with whatever logic we can string together to justify it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway. Well, I thank both of you for your time, and really looking forward to your project, and we'll stay tuned to it. So June and July, some big things coming up. So thank you for coming and speaking to my audience, and I will have this up soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, sure thing. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.